Good morning, dear friends. This will be a very short update on the situation, especially on the so-called Russia-Ukraine war. I'm saying so-called because it seems that they forgot to include in the name of the war and the main participant. So Cyrus, whom I mentioned in previous videos, he told me about a conversation he had with just some ordinary people living in Russia. And when you hear it, you will understand why are they restricting online information from Russia, blocking news sites. What happened there when the war with so-called Ukraine started is actually they arrested without any explanation tens of thousands of people. So they're being jailed without any court or sentence and put in jails where they happen to torture people as well. In addition to that, they have started stopping random people on the streets, checking their cell phones, and if the person who is checking decides that, oh, you're reading something which may imply that you don't love your government enough, your lovely government, and these people are being arrested too. Meanwhile, they multiply the mortgage amounts which people have to pay, and if you know how does it feel to pay mortgage and then you have it multiplied overnight, well, some people were struggling even with the lower amounts, so I guess their houses will be simply possessed. In addition to that, in Russia, as everywhere else, sick people are put in checkmate position to commit into certain treatments, and then they become dependent on them. And if they are cut off from the supply for the given treatment, they basically die, and that is happening to many people in Russia. They're simply being denied whatever injection they were getting regularly, and nobody cares that they actually die in numbers. And I hope this will serve as a wake-up call for those who have not switched yet to sacred herbs medicine, not just herbal medicine, because it is becoming obvious at some point those who still rely on some form of health care will be denied that. And then at that point, if you simply rely on herbal medicine, unless you are a herbalist with a large collection of herb yourself, there won't be much that you would be able to do because there will be no supply of herbs and no herbalist to tell you what to take. So then what I see as an option is only the sacred medicines, because there we have one herb goes for almost anything, and then they also help you against intense pain, which I don't know how you can achieve with standard herbal medicine. I mean, I've been researching into that when I had the paralysis of the shoulder problem. I found some information that it is possible with turmeric, but somehow I could not find a practical way to do it. And on the top of that, many sacred herbs, they will help you to go without food and water for a much longer period. And getting back to the war topic, what is going on in Ukraine, besides fighting back the invaders for the show's sake, the main thing is using the locals as living shields and making sure all attempts for meaningful negotiations and stopping the war for any reason do fail. They get sure that happens always so that they can kill more of the locals. The so-called defense army makes sure that local people are trapped so that they can do whatever they wanted to do with them. By the way, Belarus probably would have been in the same situation, but just because her leader, president or whatever title he has, he refused the kind package offers of the organizers when they were offering him months and probably a couple of years ago. Of course, it was all disguised as packages for help of the population and caring for their health and economical progress, all that. He said, no, thank you. But the Ukraine help, they embraced that kind help, and now they're paying the price. And it's not exactly that the innocent citizens suffer for the mistakes of their leaders, because almost all leaders are absolute clown psychopaths at the current moment, but still, some are way more pathetic than the others. And that's because how pathetic the president clown is actually depends on how many absolutely insane people have their own bubble realities in his country. At the end, it boils down to the sum total of the personal realities of all the people in a certain country. And getting back to the widespread arrests in Russia, they took place in the beginning of the war, and I think in exactly those same days, the same thing happened in Germany and France, or at least I found out only by chance about those two countries. Possibly it happened in many others, so I think everybody's connecting the dots that this is a cross-country operation, and of course who is behind that is pretty much obvious. Look at this. Evil spirits are patrolling the streets in Asia and telling the people what to do. And the people have to obey. They also have flying models. This one they call it a robot dog. But if you see the video how it works, it's just got this typical evil spirit, walk like a monster from hell, which it really is. And here they're even giving us a hint of what is coming next. What are these creatures gonna be doing soon? Of course, it will be mostly or only in the cities, because they don't have that much evil spirits embodied in metal. Run to the countryside if you have not done yet. So it's really important. Like the people in Ukraine who suffer most, they're in the cities because the tall buildings, they are targeted by the bombs. Now they target with great precision, not like in the previous world wars, the bomb drops and somewhere in the city. Now they exactly target the high buildings. And the people who remained in the city did not listen to the prophecies. Their excuse was the future of their children. So what's the situation with the children now? Of course, the human traffickers are in heaven in Ukraine now. And of course, they first collect where the chaos is, and that's in the cities. Other people remain in the cities because they want to keep their luxury jobs in clean office buildings, everything very shiny. Yeah, those buildings are the ones which will get bombed first, and war will come everywhere. Within a couple of years, it will be everywhere. Do not fantasize that when the situation gets more intense, you will escape on short notice. Well, as you can see, they know very well that people will try that. That's why they're blocking the people in Ukraine. That's the plan. Everything starts suddenly, and they make sure people cannot flee. That's the entire point for them. And we mentioned Asian cities now, since here the official narrative about the bug mostly evaporated in the Western world. This doesn't mean that it's everywhere like this, where the people have been made submissive. Once they have the grip to the point where revolt is impossible, they continue forcing the people into the bug safety things. They don't even hide that they're starving people, locking them up, even euthanizing them. And all of these details were in the prophecies. That's why Ephraim the Syrian said that the only way to stay away from the madness is go to a cave and smear your head with mud. Apparently this is way more practical than it sounds to most people. And if you remember from the previous video what they were doing to those cities in Australia where alternative people live, it wasn't just the continuous floods. Now they are pumping sewage into the canals of the cities. And the creatures, the souls which breathe in such waters, they're the best friends of the war organizers. That's why they make sure that when people die, they encourage them when they die to swear and turn their consciousness to sewage objects, because then they have guaranteed new recruitment for their hellish realms, because the last thing one remembers when one dies, this is his next destination. And they're well versed in this type of magic, unlike the ordinary people. And when they see such scenes on the TV, how people remember sewage objects and swear like the last thing in their life, monkey see, monkey do. People will die remembering hatred and remembering sewage, and in whatever object one meditates last in his life, that is the state of consciousness which one achieves in one's future rebirths. They are training the people to die in such disgraceful way using war scenes. I wouldn't be surprised if those were actually studio productions. And something else is beginning in Russia, something which was specifically mentioned in the Nina prophecies, and that is that when people start feeling in the air that a new cruel regime will come to grip Russia, many people who have enough money to live on short notice, they will just flee. And now, from what Sarah told me, this has already started. Many people in Russia have figured out that these arrests without explanation are not a good sign. And from everything said so far in this video, I think it's becoming apparent that we are into the new phase of a parasitic invasion of Earth. Previously it was just the one campaign everywhere, the bug, but now they are isolating entire regions and having separate programs for the different regions, and also trying to keep it secret from the rest of the people, so that the confusion only grows and those who are not yet severely affected are not prepared. And meanwhile, they have started so-called regulation of the crypto market. England is the leader in this. Basically, they say they will regulate it for tax and convenience purposes. Whose convenience? Basically, they will make it one of the parts of their devilish system, something which I warned you about years ago. The promotional period in which one could have really private transaction, that was only to hook the people, to lure them to trust that system, calling it freedom money and alternative money. It has never been, and it will start showing its real colors very soon. It will be simply one of the supporting modules of the cashless society project, because by fully controlling the money, they will fully control the lives of most people, except those who will listen to Ephraim the Syrian and go to the cave. And again, beware of the very dangerous alternative media, which will just show you sweets, candies to lead you to the gate of hell. Here, if you just listen to Alex Jones, you're greatly awakened, here and now, live. You know, when one is in hell, one will figure it out. One will wake up to the fact that one is in hell. You won't miss it. Actually, in some prophecies, in a couple of them, it was said that people in these hellish technocratic regions, they will be even shown glimpses of heaven just to see what they have missed out by accepting the new passports. And the alternative media is very subtle, like for example Alex Jones. Now and then he will himself recommend moving to the countryside and becoming self-sufficient in terms of food. However, he doesn't stress its importance. And people are trapped. They will think, oh, see, it's not that he is not recommending it. He is a genuine guy because he's recommending what is in the prophecies. But the way he's vaguely recommending it, not stressing that this is the main point to start with immediately, at the end, the people who are lazy, they will remain trapped in the cities because he has been stressing again and again that listening to him and understanding that you are in a trap is the awakening point itself. The Alex Jones awakening is actually the opposite of what is called awakening in the prophecies. The real awakening is awakening to the joy and justice which are naturally sprouting from inside. It happens naturally to the Sattvic people. And those who will not make it to the new world are described in the prophecies as people who think that they are very smart. And that's really the best description because this type of people, now they think, let me just wait a little bit, and when it gets too intense, then I will escape in the last moment. And for now, I will a bit enjoy still the perks of the demonic society, of the demonic infrastructure. A most definite sign of the end times approaching is the increase of natural disasters. And again, I made one more attempt to find good statistics. We are so good in computing nowadays things. How is it going with the increase of the natural disasters? Obviously, they are increasing in the last few decades, that's for sure. As far as real helpful charts, again, I couldn't find really complete information of what I'm looking for, especially about the earthquakes. Indeed, the official sources, they publish, if you search for the keywords of statistics, of charts of, let's say, earthquakes above this and that magnitude, you will find articles with penguin words, always quoting some statistics, but they never show the actual chart with the statistics. So some penguins quote about the worldwide surge of great disasters, while the other penguin camp assure you that there is nothing like that at all. Both of them quoting as basis of their claims statistics which are easily found according to them. I could not find. This is my second attempt. Second time in my life I wasted a few hours of my life trying to find good, clear charts, including everything. Either they are partial in terms of time or in terms of earthquakes they include. And when I find a chart which seems to be actually what I'm looking for, It looks like, and then somewhere in the footnote, there is something like this. Actual accounts after 2012 have not been completed. Wow! They count the alleged bug victims even before they happen, even before they become victims. And here they haven't had enough time in 10 years to compile a proper chart, so they are still publishing very old historic data. So here are some of the incomplete and partial charts based on not all the data, and many of them show clear surge in earthquakes and natural disasters. While yet others, like this one, seem to portray that everything is more or less the same as it always was. And that's because those who make the charts, that's why they use incomplete data. They only choose a parameter which suits what they want to prove instead of showing the entire big picture and making a chart of everything. All this is made as it is to keep the people in ignorance. Ignorance is a Tamasic quality, and people will stay unprepared until the last moment when they will be swept by the floods and their homes will be demolished by the earthquakes. And I believe, again, it was in the Ephraim the Syrian prophecies, he was also advising, when the times come, don't stay in some tall building, live in one or two-storied house, because everything else will be destroyed. Actually, the older houses of natural materials, those who are supported by strong wooden beams, they have better chances of withstanding the earthquakes than the concrete cast houses. Be wise, do not become a statistic. They are diverting the public attention from the increase of disasters so that the people will remain in the multi-storied buildings in the cities where they're easily manipulated by machine ghosts and where they will be an easy catch during war times, and where they cannot possibly live in a self-sufficient way of nature. So I resumed painting after almost 2 years break, and for the first time ever I managed to make a page with ready paintings and prices. You can find the link in the description. Plenty of very cheap paintings, by the way, below 20 euro even. And not only one can buy them, but you can have them completely for free if you have ever sent a donation to me over the years. I will be actually very happy. I would prefer that I give you that back in the form of paintings for the same amount. Because actually the only time I really encouraged people to send me donation was about 1 year ago, and at that time I was cut off from my own finances because of the evil spirits making everything difficult. But now that I have relocated, I have regained that access, and I will be really very happy if I can give even everything back. Now this is a viewer question. She's got the idea to use the magical energy we described in the previous video to kind of create her own world, to separate herself from the madness. Yeah, that's what everybody should do. Actually, we live in our own bubbles anyway, all of us. That's why sometimes events are happening kind of in a different way for different people. That started becoming popular lately under the keyword of the Mandela effect. So, under the current circumstances, we can use the magical energy in two main ways. First of all, to make stronger magic shields around us. Normally, we should not separate so much from others. We are here to interact and learn. But in the current situation, that is a good policy to follow. But before recommending some sort of spells or prayers for that, the more important application of the magical energy is to clean the space and kind of get a good hold of the reins, and more than ever become masters of our own bubble, by realizing that others actually do not have that much power over our personal space. Now, a few examples on the very practical side of things. The shields, they will reduce the chance of evil spirits raiding your home or confiscating it or earthquake destroying it. But even if that happens, they can disturb you, they can disturb your external situation, but they will never own you. Even if they happen to arrest you, let's go for the worst case scenarios, still you will be better off than the possessed people. You will see them with burning anger. They're very miserable, such people who are like in rage, in uncontrolled anger. They're always by default miserable inside. This is in psychology, this is like basics. These two things, they go together. They're tamasic qualities. While if you remain in your own sattvic bubble, even in the worst moments, you will see this insane people around you. But because you are in knowledge, you will know that this all will be very short and transitory. You will be sorry that you will have to spend a short while amongst absolutely mad people, but since you will use your magical power to be situated in sattva, if needed, you will also distance yourself from the body, because these mad people will be dangerous. And at the end, even in this worst case scenario, because you will be sattvic and unaffected, undisturbed by anger, you will pass through this entire theater less disturbed, less affected than your prosecutors, let's say, who will be by then in a constant depressed state because of sicknesses and all kinds of pressures from demonic arrangements of circumstances. So, two main aspects. First of all, turning your own bubble into pure sattva, just all the qualities which we have listed. The personal habits, the living space, the people around you, your plans, your thoughts, everything has to be sattvic. If you are not sure what is sattvic in a given situation, make a prayer. Say that in this given moment I am confused, I don't know what is sattvic. You have to tell me, I must have some good karma. Now I want to use it. Be clear in front of the gods. Once when I was in Peru, I was under a very bad black magic attack. I could not get over it for a couple of months. I tried with various shamans for destroying this black magic. It was really holding me by the throat. It was very bad. At the end, I got so emotional that one day I turned to the Vedic gods. And I told them very clearly, here in Gita, in the books, you say one who does good will never end in a bad way. Where is the help? Why are you not helping me? Are these only words? Are you gonna do something? I told them all that very loudly above one big vessel with lots of herbs where they were soaking for a long time. And then I took bath with all those magic herbs, and on that day the black magic was finally broken. And again, I think for a second time I will mention that famous case in India for the man who was pronounced dead and was dead for all practical purposes for, was it like 6 hours? This is a real, very rare case. People come back from clinical death after minutes, but hours. That's really unheard of. And after that, the man told the story that he was going, he saw the tunnel and the end and the judging of the soul and everything was going as it should be. And then the spirits all of a sudden told him, you have to go back because your wife is very religious and she has been crying down there for hours in front of their family altar. She said to the deities, all my life I am doing your worship with such a devotion. Now it's time that I ask something. You have to bring my husband back. And although the soul of the husband was way beyond the return point, because many people have near-death experiences but return after a short tour of that world, he was way into the world from where nobody comes back, but he came back. Now, as far as practical spells and tricks for fencing your bubble, which is called kvacha or shield in Hindi, in Sanskrit also, I think not all people will be inclined towards the Hindu version, and that they should use whatever their culture, whatever they feel comfortable with. For example, the cross prayer of Vyacheslav, which I recommended in one of the End Times episodes, his mother said chant that 33 times every day and always wear a cross on your body. I highly recommend a symmetric cross only. From the Indian prayers, basically any kavacha which is devoted to any form of Bhagavan or Bhagavati, the female forms of the Lord, will do. But the Hanuman Chalisa seems to be the most efficient according to the overall testimonials in India. Also the Siddha Kunjaka Stotra, which could be a bit too long as the Hanuman Chalisa for Westerners. They may then consider simply shorter mantras. Like Ulysses, for example, you have a relative of the goddess Pratyangira in your home, meow. And a short mantra for goddess Pratyangira is Om Hrim Pratyangire Brahmandarakshini Sarvabhada Nasha Nasha Fat. So Pratyangira is called Brahmanda or Universe Rakshini, protector. And the request is Sarvabhada, all obstacles, Nashaya, destroy. So Om Hrim Pratyangire Brahmanda Rakshini Sarvabhada Nasha Nasha Fat. Of course, before attempting any mantra, I would advise the Western public to listen to the video called Are Vedic Mantras Effective for Western People? And then, Lisa, you also have relatives of the goddess Varahi in your home. This is a form of Devi with the head of a boar. So Varahi is also an ancient protector goddess, and until day she's called upon by professional tantrics to ward off high-level black magic, to which now even the laymen are subjected already. That is heavy hellish magic. We are all bombarded with that. So it is fully justified if we go for the tools of the advanced magicians. So they have these sadhanas and magic shields for goddess Varahi. Now I'm gonna tell you just a short mantra for goddess Varahi. Om Varahi Sarvatomam Raksha Raksha Durga Hum Fat Svaha. So she's called Durga because she's form of Devi. And the prayer is that Sarvatomam Raksha Raksha, Sarvato, always protect me, Raksha Raksha, everywhere. So there is all kinds of rituals to gain punya or good karma or magic power in India, and one of them is to feed somebody, any living entity, every day. If you don't find anybody, feed the ants, they say, but don't miss a day without feeding somebody. So you've been feeding the relatives of the goddesses Varahi and Pratyangira for quite some time now, so you have some ground to talk to the goddesses. They will surely listen to you. But if the Vedic mantra chanting feels too foreign for you, you can do it the New Age way. Just imagine a huge power dome around your being, preferably with a huge symmetric cross on the top, a big one. Why not 100 meters wide, so that the intruders will be stopped from far away? And if you meditate on this psychic dome and cross every day, even for a short time during your daily meditation, hopefully, then it will work. At least to some extent it will surely work.